Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome. My name is Kevin Folk, and I'm the Chief Administrative Officer for the City of Greater Sudbury. On behalf of the City, we're pleased to be hosting this provincial announcement today, and it's my pleasure to be here as your MC. Je m'appelle Kevin Folk et j'ai plaisir d'animer cette annonce provinciale aujourd'hui. Before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge that we're meeting on the traditional lands of the Atikameksheng Anishinaabe, and that the large area that we consider Greater Sudbury also exists within and is adjacent to the territorial lands of the Wahnapitae First Nation and the Sagamok Anishinaabe. We honor, recognize, and respect these Indigenous peoples as traditional stewards of the land in which we share today. I'd also like to acknowledge the Métis and Inuit people for their contributions to the land and to our community. So we have quite a full agenda this morning, so I'm honored to invite Honorable Kinga Surma, Minister of Infrastructure, to come to the podium for today's announcement. Et je souhaite le bienvenue à l'honorable ministre à Grand Sudbury, et je vous remercie d'être ici.
Thank you, Kevin, for the introduction, and good morning, everyone. Before I begin, I would like to thank Paul Lefebvre, the Mayor of Greater Sudbury, for hosting today's event here in Sudbury. I'm thrilled to be here with Michael Lindsay, CEO of Infrastructure Ontario, as well as Joel Churkis, Senior Manager, Business Operations, Starlink, to share an exciting update on how our government is taking action to ensure every community across our province, including Northern Ontario, has access to high-speed internet. We all know reliable access to the internet is central to our day-to-day lives. Whether you are booking healthcare appointments, connecting with family and friends via social media, or running a small business online, high-speed internet access is essential for us, our families, and our communities. That's why our government is investing nearly $4 billion to deliver high-speed internet projects across Ontario. And I'm proud to say that this is the largest high-speed internet investment in any province by any government in Canadian history. In fact, as of November, Ontario has finalized agreements worth approximately $2.5 billion for over 270 high-speed internet and cellular projects connecting over 100,000 homes and businesses to high-speed internet to date, with about 450,000 more to be connected by the end of next year. But in many of our communities, particularly in rural and remote areas in the north, barriers like challenging terrain and weather, as well as limiting existing infrastructure, have made it difficult to implement traditional ground-based high-speed internet connections. That's why today I'm thrilled to announce the launch of the Ontario Satellite Internet Program, or ONSAT, an ambitious partnership with Starlink. The ONSAT program will utilize Starlink's low Earth orbit satellite technology to deliver high-speed satellite internet access to 15,000 eligible, unserved, and underserved homes and businesses, including in rural, remote, and northern communities across the province. These communities will gain access to high-speed satellite internet capable of supporting streaming, video calls, online gaming, and more activities that have become second nature to so many of us. Satellite internet service through the program is expected to be available beginning in June of 2025. More information on eligibility and registration will be made available in the spring of 2025. Today's announcement is an exciting and critical step forward in our government's plan to bring high-speed internet access to every community across the province by the end of 2025. Together, we're helping to ensure that no matter where you live, you can work, learn, and play online. Thank you, and I would now like to invite Michael Lindsay to the podium.
Thank you very much, Minister Surma, for that kind introduction. Good morning, everyone. Bon matin, tout le monde. C'est un plaisir d'être à Sudbury encore. I would just like to begin by as Kevin did, so eloquently just acknowledging that we're on the traditional territories of many Indigenous partners. You did so eloquently, sir, that I'll just add my thanks to those communities for allowing us to be here today on this territory. The land certainly connects us all. Infrastructure Ontario is deeply, deeply privileged to be playing a part with the Ministry of Infrastructure in the government's commitment to address the digital divide which has left so many without adequate digital infrastructure and high-speed internet. Last year, Infrastructure Ontario, on behalf of the Ministry of Infrastructure, launched the first competitive procurement of its kind in order to select a qualified satellite internet service provider to deliver satellite internet service to the province. Following a robust and transparent and competitive and fair technical and financial evaluation of multiple qualified parties, I couldn't be more pleased to join the Minister for the launch of the Ontario Satellite Internet Program, or as we call it because we love acronyms at Infrastructure Ontario, ONSAT. I just wanted to highlight perhaps one key component of the program about which we are very proud, and that is how this program continues to demonstrate how Ministry of Infrastructure and Infrastructure Ontario think about meaningful dialogue, engagement with, and service of Indigenous peoples. I'm proud to note that today's contract awarded to SpaceX marks the first time for Infrastructure Ontario that an Indigenous engagement and participation plan is included as part of an executed contract. As part of those contract requirements, SpaceX is going to engage directly with Indigenous communities to ensure equal access to the program and to create socioeconomic opportunities through employment, contracting, and training opportunities where feasible. I am immensely proud of this achievement. I'm immensely proud of my team as well as the team at the Ministry of Infrastructure. I'd like to share my deepest appreciation to SpaceX. Congratulations on having won this procurement. And now the very hard work begins. As the Minister noted, information on eligibility and registration will be available beginning in spring 2025 with satellite internet service through ONSAT expected by June 30th of 2025. And now to tell you a little bit more about SpaceX, I'm very pleased and honored to invite Joel Cherkis to come to the podium. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Michael, and thank you, Minister Surma, for hosting us today, Mayor Lefebvre. It's fantastic to be able to spend some time with you today. So my name is Joel Cherkis, and I look after the business operations portion of the Starlink business for our most strategic customers. Governments and commercial entities around the world are organizations that I work with every day, and the role that I play is to ensure that we have smooth rollout of this type of a program. Our ultimate goal with Starlink is to help bridge the digital divide. So our goal essentially is to fill the gaps where high-speed broadband is not available or capable in geographic areas, typically based on proximity to areas that are served by fiber today, high-speed cable, 5G services. So we fill in those gaps by delivering high-speed satellite-based internet. For those that don't know much about Starlink, so we are the world's first low Earth orbit satellite constellation. So we operate at around 550 kilometers above the Earth. It's very different than the traditional geostationary satellite providers. They typically are operating somewhere around 35,000 kilometers above the Earth. By being much closer to the Earth, that enables us to deliver high-speed capability at a very low latency. Low latency is important because of some of the things that Minister Surma mentioned, things like online streaming services, being able to have video calls, being able to do online gaming, or to live your life using the broadband capabilities. Our goal is to be able to do that really anywhere on Earth. These low latencies are one of the key factors or the key capabilities that we can deliver. And what we find is with some of the traditional models that take many years to roll out, we in essence can deliver Starlink capabilities within minutes. So the typical person that will get a Starlink kit will be able to take the box, open that box, and by supplying it with power and an open view of the sky, usually within minutes we'll have capability to get those types of services. Just to give you an idea, some of our earliest and first Starlink users in 2020 were some of the First Nation organizations. In very rural and geographically challenging areas to get fiber rolled out to. The Pekanjikam First Nation was one of the first groups of people. And the Starlink team that was working with them found that within 15 minutes of getting the Starlink kit off of the charter flight that arrived at that First Nation, they were able to be online and actually connecting users to high-speed broadband. The next day, they were able to then roll out that capability across many of the government services, including healthcare, education, police services. Our goal is to continue to deliver all of those same types of services. Just to give you an idea, today we now have over 4 million customers that are using the Starlink services in over 100 countries around the world. We're one of the world's first, or we can deliver a global telecommunications capability very quickly, very easily. We're continuing to invest in our satellite constellation. So just this morning, we actually had 2 additional satellite launches, delivering more satellites into space, and we'll continue doing that. The pace that we're on right now is about 40 satellites a week. I'm based out of our Seattle office where we make the satellites. So we typically are making around 50 a week or so. And the goal is to get those into orbit as fast as possible to continue to increase the capabilities around the world. So with that, I want to thank you for the opportunity to be here today. We're very much looking forward to working with Ontario, the ONSAT program, to deliver these capabilities. And with that, I'll turn it over to Mayor Lefebvre. Thank you.
Thank you, Joel. It's an honor to be here with all of you, and certainly I want to start by thanking Minister Surma for being here in Greater Sudbury for this exciting announcement. Thank you for making the trip from Toronto. We don't usually have outdoor announcements in November, but it's still balmy weather for us, so this is fantastic. So this is great. I know I'm wearing my coat, but I could have taken it off as well. But no, again, really a special thank you to Infrastructure Ontario President and CEO Michael Lindsay and Joel Churkus on behalf of SpaceX. We just heard the importance of this announcement. I know we're in Sudbury, and certainly it's important for people of Sudbury, but for Northern Ontario, this is a key piece. So on behalf of the mayors and the Reeves from Northern Ontario, thank you for this. And I know Phenom has been asking for this, and as well as our communities out in the Northwest as well, has been asking for more investments in broadband. As was said, it's not only important for the economy, for education, and for healthcare. You know what? It drives so much for our communities. It's such an important link to have, and the fact that for years, you know, they've had internet, but certainly slow internet. The fact that now the province is making this historic investment and really focusing on Northern Ontario as well goes a long way. We know that reliable internet connectivity is just not a luxury, but it's essential for these communities. And the fact that, you know what, we've been advocating for this, and now we're seeing the fruits of that effort. And we're looking forward to hearing the more details, what that looks like in the spring, and how that's going to be rolled out. Donc, juste, je veux dire en français également, parce qu'il y a beaucoup de communautés francophones dans le nord de l'Ontario, ça fait longtemps qu'on demande pour des fonds et pour de l'appui au niveau de notre connectivité, au niveau de l'Internet. L'investissement d'aujourd'hui qu'on voit par la province du gouvernement de l'Ontario va très loin pour appuyer nos besoins de nos communautés, nos besoins de matière de santé, éducation, mais également économique. C'est un game changer, comme on dit, c'est un grand investissement qui va aller très loin. Puis on est très fiers de pouvoir de voir ce programme aller de l'avant. So the Ontario Satellite Internet Program is a major step forward ensuring that residents and businesses in communities, just like Greater Sudbury, across the region, across Northern Ontario and the Great North, where traditional infrastructure can be challenging, have access to reliable high-speed internet. So I'm happy to see the province supporting this in our goals to help build a more competitive, thriving communities across Northern Ontario. Avec ça, merci beaucoup tout le monde. Miigwech.
So it's all very exciting and great news for many residents in remote, rural, and northern areas of our province. So we'd like to thank all of our speakers here this morning. We're going to move now to the question and answer portion of the event. Members of the media will have an opportunity to ask one question and one follow-up of our speakers. When you are called, please introduce yourself by name and your organization, and please keep questions aligned with the topic of today's announcement. Following the Q&A, speakers and guests will gather for a photo as well. So we'll begin the Q&A now. So just remind, please state your name and your organization, and a question and a follow-up, and the individual here, speaker that you wish to question. Questions?
Heidi Elrickson, Sudbury.com, which is a village media outlet. This is a message for Kinga Surma. please. I'm afraid this is not aligned with the topic. Laurentian University in Sudbury exited insolvency nearly 2 years ago now, yet its creditors have yet to be paid out. The money to do this is to come from sales of lands to the province of Ontario. The deadline is around a year from now, on November 28, 2025. Why is this process taking so long, and how much longer will it take?
Well, thank you very much for the question. I know how important it is. You know, it is Government of Ontario's best interest to make sure that the university is financially sound in the long term. This is something that is being explored and negotiated, but until the transaction is complete, I am not able to comment further. But we certainly support the university and the work that is underway to make it sustainable in the long term.
Follow-up? What does the province of Ontario have to say to Laurentian's creditors, some of whom are former employees who are waiting for their payouts, have been for 2 years? Thank you.
Again, those negotiations and that transaction is underway, and until it's complete, I just will not be able to comment further.
If nobody else has questions, I can ask questions on the topic here.
Sure.
How much is the province investing in this Starlink project?
We have secured 15 broadband capacity for 15,000 premises. It is an investment of close to $100 million. What the province will be doing is we will be paying for the installation and equipment fees. But of course, there is work that will have to occur between Starlink and the province of Ontario in terms of registration, and that's what we'll communicate in months to come.
Is the entire cost being covered for those that will receive it?
For the equipment and installation, yes.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you very much, everyone. Have a very good day.
Yes, so thank you again, and we'll partner now with our friends from the province here and arrange for a photo in a moment. Thank you.